Hi, I'm Rachel Johnson, the Charismatic Chemist, and today I'm going to be asking some of our most frequently asked questions. Our process for formulating products, I call it the Charismatic method because it's my unique approach to formulation. So there's three major steps into formulation. First, there is an R&D review. Then there is research. So I research all the ingredients that you want to put in your product. And then we get into development, which is me making batches in the lab, making sure that all of the specifications that you have given me are incorporated into the experiment, making sure it's stable and it smells nice or it doesn't have a smell at all based on what you're looking for. And then we do preliminary stability testing. So we do a couple of different temperatures for each product, just to make sure that it has some type of stability before you test it out yourself. Believe it or not, most R&D phases for products last between 12 months and 18 months. And that's primarily just us going back and forth looking to perfect the formulation. First, we schedule a consultation where you and I get to know each other a little bit more. I get to learn more about your brand and the product that you're looking to develop. And then once our consultation is over, we go through a phase of where we're exchanging legal documents, things like an NDA, a formulation contract that spells out all the things that are included in your project with me. And then we get into briefing your product. So we'll go through everything that you want or you don't want in your product, but also what you want it to look, smell like, all the markets that you're looking to expand into, your costing and your budget for the project. And that's a lot of back and forth and a lot of conversations that we have before we can actually start the R&D process. So that's kind of like what the consultation phase is. It's just us getting to know each other and then also exchanging necessary documents to solidify our partnership. Once we leave the consultation phase, then we get into the actual research and development of your product. So that's more so on me. So I'll go through the phases of procuring raw materials and all the things that I need in order to batch and to develop your product. That's about a 30-day situation in order for us to source it, make sure that it's a reliable source, and then going into actually getting samples and bringing things into the lab. And then after we do procurement, then we formulate. So that's when I sit down and I do all the research needed to put ingredients together. I do a lot of research up front just to make sure that the ingredients are compatible before we actually get to the lab. And then after I put the formula together, then I go into experiments. So I make a lot of experiments for more complicated products, but it varies depending on the complexity of the product. So we batch, we do elimination tests, so making sure we can pinpoint any of the issues that are going on with your formula. And then we go to, what's the next phase? The stability testing that I spoke of. So we put it through a preliminary trial of stability testing to make sure it's robust enough for shipments and for you to evaluate it. And then we ship out our samples to you so you can see them, you can touch them and feel them, and give it your feedback on if you like it or if you don't like it and what changes you want to make to the formula. After we conduct all of our tests, we do a preliminary regulatory analysis to make sure that all the ingredients that are in your formula are compatible with the markets that you're looking to enter. For instance, EU. The EU has their own special regulations as well as the US and other countries. So we do like a preliminary analysis to make sure your ingredients and your formulas comply in the markets that you shared with me during the consultation phase. One of our most frequently asked questions is, do we know where our ingredients are sourced? The answer is yes, we do know where our ingredients are sourced. Before we bring them into the lab, we do research to make sure all of the ingredients are sustainably sourced and they are reliable for a long period of time. They're not things that are on cycles or anything that's has limited quantities. Do we use clean and sustainable ingredients? The answer is yes, we do use clean and sustainable ingredients. Depending on your budget, it depends on how many of those clean ingredients we can incorporate into your formulation. But yes, we do have access to a lot of upcycled, clean, and sustainable ingredients. Yes, I actually can create formulas that are vegan and cruelty-free. In order for you to make that claim on your product, though, you gotta book a consultation so I can show you how to do that. How do I ensure the quality and safety of our formulations? I briefly spoke on this already, but we do regulatory analysis on all of our raw materials. We also put our formulations through a robust testing phase. So we do a full panel of testing on the formulation to make sure it's safe and efficacious. Yes, you can ask or request specific ingredients to go into your formulation. And that you can do that at the beginning of our consultation phase, or you can do it before we start R&D. The cost involved in making a new formulation, there's tiers to it, but the first tier is of course R&D. That starts around $7,600, and that includes all of the testing that's needed to make your product market ready. And then we go into other tiers for more complex products. So for instance, if you want to launch an SPF or OTC product, that cost starts around about $12,000 to $15,000. And again, it includes all of the testing that's needed for your SPF validation testing and any other OTC validation testing. So what our additional tier is for color cosmetics, and that cost starts around $10,000. And that specializes in all of our color cosmetics, like your foundations, your lipsticks, lip glosses. And that the cost includes for us to do all the shade matching for color cosmetics and also all the testing needed in order to make it market ready. Once you get your formulation finalized, which means that it's something that you love and can stand behind for a lifetime, we have turnkey solutions that can get you into the manufacturing phase of your product launch. So the first step would be packaging development. So we can source tubes, bottles, jars that'll be the perfect fit for your product, and we do all the testing and the design to help you bring that part of your development to life. And then we move into manufacturing, which is what we did in R&D, but on a much larger scale. So again, we start with procuring your raw materials to make your batch. Then we compound your formulation. So using our kettles and all of our state-of-the-art equipment, we upscale your formulation for mass production. And then we move into our filling room. We fill your packaging with your formulation to give you a finished good. You cannot sell products without doing testing. According to the new FDA regulation under MOCRA, all your products have to be tested for safety and effectiveness, safe for use. So in order for you to sell a product, the FDA will be cracking down next year. They started this year, but they will be cracking down very hard next year to make sure all products that are on the market have been tested. So if you want your product to be in any large retailer, your product does have to be tested for safety, and your packaging also has to be tested for shipping and making sure that your product can actually evacuate from the packaging. So all of this testing that needs to be conducted before you launch your product is something that we can help you do. How we handle formulation revisions and feedback, we do have a product evaluation form that you must complete once you get your sample submissions in the mail. So you'll go through the phase of trying your product and then using our questionnaire to answer specific questions on the aesthetics and the texture, just so that we're speaking the same language when it comes to making modifications to your formula. So that's the first step, is your product evaluation. And based off of that form, we take the form, go back to the lab, and make adjustments to your formula based off of the information that you give us in that form. So addressing this question about product briefs, we're going to jump back to the consultation phase. The things that you need to include in your product brief is included in an R&D questionnaire that we give you during the consultation phase. You have the option of providing your own brief, and if you don't have one, then the questionnaire will help you build one out. So the R&D questionnaire includes all the questions about your brand, so we get to know you more so what it looks like on paper. And then also, again, your ingredient restrictions, your cost budget, so the budget for your formula, but also the budget for your packaging, timeline requirements, so if you have any urgencies, you let us know that as well. And then also your expected launch date, so that we can stay on the same page on when certain milestones need to be hit during the project. SKU is a stock keeping unit, and it's a retail term used to track the sales of your product. So we use it in the manufacturing sector because a SKU is associated to one product. So when we say per SKU, it means per product. For your formula, we can do as low as 500 units per SKU. The minimum order quantity for a custom formulation, there's two parts to the question. So for your actual custom formula, we can do as low as 500 units, depending on your fill size. However, for custom packaging to go with your custom formulation, those minimum order quantities are a little bit higher. They start at 10,000 pieces per SKU. Yes, I do get a question often if I have formulations ready to go that don't require a lot of development, and the answer is yes. I'm always formulating something, whether I'm writing formulas or I'm in the lab working on something new. Just reach out to me and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll just look through my catalog of formulations to see if I have something that fits your needs. The answer is yes, you can come and visit our lab. It's by appointment only. If you already have a formulation, the process is a little different. However, we can still assist you. The first step will be to do an R&D review. So we'll review your formulation to see how ready it is. And depending on where the formulation is, we can advise on if it needs to go back to R&D or if you're ready to go straight to manufacturing.